Welcome. What are we doing here today? Well, it's a nasty day out. It's not supposed to rain. I don't think it's raining. It's like fog, super wet. I wanted to do some painting today, but that ain't happening. Another thing that we need to work on is wood splitting. So, as long as it's too wet to paint, we're going to see if we can get our wood splitter started. All right. I hear cats. There they are. They're sitting on the four-wheeler watching me. Okay, so what we have here is an old wood splitter. This thing is a 1940s International Cub power unit on what might be a homemade wood splitter. Yeah, it's big and heavy. Hi guys, thanks for joining. We're gonna try and start this old wood splitter today. It's crank start. You gotta crank the handle. That's no fun. Yeah, this thing is not easy to do. There it is. This thing's from the 1940s, I believe. It's a nasty day out. It's gonna get worse though. That's why we gotta split some wood, because winter's coming. Right now it's just rain, but pretty soon it's gonna be snow. There's nowhere flat to put the camera. Everywhere it falls. I'll just hold it for now. We got a PTO on it with a bunch of pulleys going to a shaft that then drives this hydraulic unit that operates the wood splitter portion. That part leaks like crazy, which is no fun because hydraulic oil is expensive, so every time I need to use it I have to top it off with more hydraulic fluid. But the worst part is starting this thing. This thing is so difficult to start because the carburetors, cheap Amazon carburetor, and it's not tuned properly. It leaks like crazy, and it's a crank start engine. Hi guys, thanks for joining. Hi Fraser. We're gonna try and start our wood splitter today. It's no fun to start. It's a crank start, 1940s International Cub engine. Yeah. Carburetors, this Amazon cheap carburetor, which leaks and it's not tuned properly. So last time I started this, it took like an hour to start. Better not take an hour to start today. We got a crank handle here. Pleasant weather. Yeah, it's horrible. I wanted to paint today. I was gonna try painting the tractor, but everything's wet. I don't think it's actually rain out here. I think it's fog. They said dense fog. It doesn't really look like fog, but yeah. Hi guys. I think the fog's just so dense that it's wet, but it's better than snow. But because snow's coming, I need to start the wood splitter so we can split some wood for the winter. All right, so we got to check a few things here on this wood splitter first. It's night there. All right, it's mid-morning here. I'd say maybe around 9:40 a.m. Central Wisconsin, United States. I do have to go back to work. I worked half the night last night, so I got the morning off, but at noon, lunchtime, I got to go back into my day job. So on this wood splitter here, it's old. We got to check the coolant, make sure there's coolant in there, because it did leak at one point, and then it stopped leaking. I don't know what that's all about. So taking off the coolant cap, peek down in there. If you guys can see it or not, there is green coolant in there, so that's good. All right. That part's good. Check the gas. The gas is over here. And that's important to check that. Of course, it's not going to ruin the engine if we're out of gas because it just won't start. You're not going to be able to see the gas. Maybe you saw some reflection of shiny stuff in there. What's bad though is the carburetor leaks. So I have to shut off the fuel down by the fuel bowl. These old tractor engines, they've got fuel bowls. So let's go take a look at that. That's just underneath it here. Drop you down a little. All right, so this is the fuel bowl here, sediment bowl. So any debris that's in the fuel tank, it will collect at the bottom of the bowl there, and it won't flow out to the engine unless you get light debris that floats, or if you get the bowl so full of debris that all the junk just goes out there. Before I turn that on, there's just this little lever here stopping the fuel from the tank from going in. Let's check a few more things, because as soon as I turn that fuel valve on, we're going to start leaking gas like crazy, and gas is expensive. Here's the pulleys and stuff. The PTO comes out of the engine, power takeoff, and spins these pulleys. We do have a lever to control whether they go or not. That's work making noise, but I'm not at work right now, so I'm going to ignore that until I do go to work at lunchtime, because it just goes to our whole group. All right, so I get to keep doing this. So we got a lever here. Once we get the engine started, we're gonna release that. There's a swivel thing holding that lever back. We'll release that, then those pulleys will start spinning, and that will drive the hydraulics to run the wood splitter. That part works. It works okay, not great. Leaks like crazy. This whole thing, this is the reservoir to hold all the fluid. We got a bucket out here because we might need to add some fluid, which is no good because fluid's expensive. All the hoses are cracked, old, leaking, because who knows how old they are, and it sits outside. So you can see everything's covered in grease and oil. It's big, very heavy duty. Definitely needs some maintenance and work. There's the hydraulic ram that will push this big chunk of steel forward up against that, and it will split the logs. And that's a whole lot easier than using an axe. I don't want to use an axe anymore. That's rough. It's rough on your body trying to use an axe to chop wood, especially once you get bigger logs. Okay, then on this side, we see the engine. And there's the nasty carburetor that leaks like crazy. I think there's like air gaps in there too. So it doesn't have proper vacuum, and it takes forever to start. Let's check the oil. Way down here. There we go. Oh yeah. There's our full mark. We're pretty close to the full mark. It's dirty. Make sure that's closed all the way. Time for an oil change. Yeah, axes. And actually the heavy axes are the best ones because they give you extra momentum there. A light axe, it's easy to lift and swing, but you've got to have a fast swing because it's your swing that's going to chop the wood. All right, so we checked our oil, we checked our coolant, we checked the gas. I think we're ready to not have fun. This thing's got a crank handle. I don't look forward to doing this. Hi, Mario. Yeah, it's a misty, foggy, rainy sort of day out here. I'm gonna try starting this wood splitter. So I'm gonna take our crank handle. If you look, there's little knobs that come out the side. I'm going to put it into the end of the engine, and there's some mechanism in there which is like corkscrew type shaped, and it will grab when I spin this. It will grab from one direction, but the other way it will actually push it out. So theoretically, as soon as the engine starts, it will push out the crank handle, so it doesn't get stuck in there and the crank handle's spinning around and around and around and hitting you in the face and doing who knows what. So let's go ahead and stick this in here. That's where we put it. There we go. And see how it stops that way, but if I go this way, it just keeps going. All right, so we gotta get it in the hole. There we go. Now with these crank start engines, you would think the easiest way is just grab it and crank, 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 crank like that. That would be the easiest way. But these old engines are also known to kick back sometimes. And if you're on there with one hand or two hands and you got a good tight grip and you're cranking, 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 if the engine kicks back, it's got so much power, it will break your hand and maybe even break your arm, because boom, it's going to kick the other way and there go your fingers. So the proper way is you only pull up in a direction that if it kicks back, it will slide out of your hand. So like here, if I'm doing this, it can slide out of my hand. If I'm cranking down, look how my thumb is locked in there. And if it kicks back this way, there goes my thumb. Yeah. So that makes it more difficult to start, because I can't just go round and round and round as fast as I can until it starts. I've got to go one pull at a time and putting a lot of strength into it, because I want to kick that engine over as much as possible. So yank, yank. So that's what we're about to do. Let's go ahead and turn the gas on here, and let's see if we can get this thing to at least burp. We might not get it fully started. Let's hope we do. So back over on this side, there's our sediment bowl for the fuel. I'm going to turn the lever on. Now fuel is flowing into the sediment bowl here, which also means it's flowing on the ground. Once it gets started, the fuel doesn't leak as bad because it's being sucked in, but look at that. All right, so time's running out. I'm dumping gas on the ground. Let's go ahead and set you up so you can watch. I'm gonna grab a glove because this might not be fun. And as I said, I'm not gonna push that way, so I'm getting it down to the bottom. And I'm gonna pull up like that. Just getting you so you can have a good view here. All right. And see, if it's a key start, that'd be so easy. As you hear, nothing's happening yet. Now, if I had a properly tuned carburetor, it would have kicked off and started already. but I don't. So every time I want to start the wood splitter, I've got to go through this nonsense. It's not even burping yet. Just imagine, they used to have to do this all the time, spin more. I would love to just keep spinning like this, but if the engine kicks back, what will happen is if I'm at the top here and I'm pushing down and the engine kicks back, it's going to break my thumb. And I don't want to break my thumb or rip my arm off. So we just got to do an upward pull so it can slip out of my hand if it kicks back. All right, Roadman, thanks for joining. Marco, hi. I'm getting worn out already. We're gonna keep trying here because we're leaking gas. Until it starts, the carburetor leaks gas. Oh, I heard it burp. I heard it again. We're getting close. Oh, never give up. Yep. I might eventually give up. And here it's not at the right spot. There we go. All right, so yeah, sorry about the coughing here. You heard it almost go, but what happens is once it gets going, I'm gonna have to fool with the throttle, not the throttle, the choke on the carburetor, because it's gonna take some fooling with to keep it from dying. So I have to catch that quickly once it runs. It's no longer happy. Oh, I heard it again. It's getting close. Back in the old days, that carburetor would have been tuned because everyone was an expert at tuning carburetors then, and they didn't have cheap Amazon carburetors. You can hear it wants to go. Oh, so close. It is cold. Yeah, let's keep going. It's not too cold. It's probably in the 50s. Fahrenheit. We're here in Wisconsin, United States. I'm starting to get tired. Doesn't help that it's so far close to the ground. Oh, it's got gas. We're leaking gas like crazy. No. Oh, I can spin it the other way. Gas is dripping like crazy. Yeah, I can spin it the other way. Nothing happens though. All right. Oh. You can imagine if I have to do this every time I want to split wood, and that's what I have to do every time I want to split wood. That's annoying. Woo. Don't let go. I'd love to just keep cranking, but yeah. But what will happen if I just keep cranking is if the engine kicks back, which these old engines do, like it'll backfire, it'll bust my hand or my thumb or even my arm. So I have to crank it so that it can slip out of my hand if it kicks back. So it's just one direction at a time, over and over. Yeah, it looks opposite because the YouTube video is like mirrored right now. So if you look at my shirt, it probably doesn't look proper. It looks backwards. It's all mirrored. This is a 1940s International Cub engine on top of this wood splitter. It is hard work. All right, go keep trying. And every once in a while it doesn't sit in the right spot. Let me just fiddle with the carburetor a little. Gas on my fingers now. Well, it's a good workout though. I'll rest once it's too much for me. Yeah, they don't make them like they used to. I actually started this last week. Before that, it was almost 2 years. I did not start it all last year. So the first time I started it last week, it took an hour. But then the second time, it only took 10 minutes. I figure we're already at like 10 minutes, so it's time to start. Yeah. Oh, that was close. Oh, it's sounding happier. What was the time of the day? It was about this time of the day. Same weather too, maybe a little colder actually. Oh, it wants to. Not anymore. Just think, back in the day, they had no such thing as electric start. Push it in. Well, it's in, because if it wasn't, it would do this. Gotta get it in there. Oh, I need it to run just a little longer before I touch that choke lever. Oh yeah, it's got gas because the gas is dripping out of the carburetor. So the longer it's taking me, the more gas I'm losing. Once it starts, it'll suck up all the gas. Very close. Whew. And all these troubles are because of a bad carburetor. The original carburetor was really, really bad. I tried cleaning it. No, could never get to start. Bought one off Amazon and we got running, but it takes a lot of fiddling with. So close. Oh. It wants to go. It wants to. It says, I don't like sitting here. I want to run. Yeah, I am alone, except for one of my kids, and he's inside. The rest of my family, they're at the zoo today on a school field trip. Oh, and the thing is, the choke, it's not going to be easy. Once it starts running, I have to fiddle with it a lot too. It's not as simple as, oh, we push the choke in and then it's happy. You'll hear if we get it started, it's going to be keep it from dying, and trying to turn it off of choke. And once we get it just right, then it runs properly. Yeah, it is close. Yeah, exactly. This thing has probably seen who knows what. Just imagine the history these things have been through. The people that have worked on them throughout the years. The gas needle. Well, the thing is, the carb's all messed up. It was a Chinese one from Amazon and never worked properly from day one. It's got air leaks, gasket leaks. Yeah. Drips like crazy. So I don't think it has proper vacuum. It wants to go. I think we're getting close. No, I'm not going to do a continuous turn, especially when we're this close. If it was completely not even burping, sometimes I've risked it and I've tried that, but when we're this close, that's when the engine could decide to be mean. Oh. It's teasing me. Oh, we're getting close. And I've got to take my glove off to properly reach the carburetor. So that takes time. Whoa. Why is it got to be so low to the ground too? Yeah. Go on the right side so I can bend. Well, I need to make sure that I'm in a position so my hand isn't captured in it too. We can try moving a little bit. Let's bring you over here. It's not happy anymore. Be ready. Yeah. I'm ready. It's not ready. Oh yeah, we have spark. It's firing. Oh. It ran for like 5 seconds. I think we're getting closer. Yeah. Glad I don't have to do this every day. But when I just want to go split wood, I want to split wood. I don't want to have to play with this engine. It's like insanity. I think I'm gonna probably sell this thing because it's a cool item, but this is way too much work every time I want to start it. Clean the stick. Yeah, this is brutal. Hi, Rivals Goat. Trying to start this engine for the wood splitter. We're close. It wants to start. We gotta baby it. It should start. It better start. It's like so close. It started out as a cold, rainy, drizzly day. I'm sweating. That is my right hand. Everything's mirrored on this video. See how my shirt doesn't look proper? Everything's reversed. You sold yours. You love tractors and lawnmowers. Yeah, so do I. Yeah, we got a bunch of lawnmowers that don't work. Tractor there, that one works. No, nothing to help me crank it, just my hand. We got some old Bolins here, Bolins 1050s. Bolins, we got some 8, whatever they are, 810s. It's cold, yeah. 3 hours later. No, it can't be 3 hours later because I still have to go back to work today. All right, let's try this again because we're close. It's starting. I just have to make it happy. Once it's running, I have to tweak the choke. And it's not just push the choke all the way in. We gotta finesse it until it's warmed up and happy. This is a 1940s International Cub engine that's running a wood splitter. So every time I want to split wood, I've got to do this. So that's why I think after this season, once I know my wood is split, I'm probably going to think of trying to sell this thing. The problem is, this thing's so heavy duty. It's huge. It's on an I-beam with a giant piston, and all the replacement ones are expensive and they're puny. But if other people can use them, we should be able to. Just doing this every time I want to split wood, it's ridiculous. Let's try it again here. Oh, we're close to starting. See how it wants to die? I'm finessing the choke right now. Almost. 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 Gotta get warmed up. Come on. Close. I can't see what you're saying. It's too little. Oh. Come on. I really want to be able to take the choke all the way off. And you'll hear it runs different once it's happy. guys are saying? I'm too far away. I can't walk away from it or it's gonna die. Oh yeah! Ooh, that was horrible. No, it's not where I was touching. Wow. That was horrible. Every time I want to split wood, I have to do that. Whoa. Alright. Let's see what you guys said while I wasn't looking here. How much time does it take to warm up? That's about average. Yeah, time to split wood. Yeah, guys. So now we got to see if we can turn the hydraulic part on. Yeah, definitely a fuel problem. The carburetor, that's not the proper original carburetor. That's a Chinese Amazon brand. But it's not leaking fuel now that it's running. But because it's actually sucking it up. So now we need to turn the PTO on. That's over here. No, this part should be easy as long as the engine doesn't die. It's going to put a load on the engine, so the engine might die once we do this. Rim the main jet out just a tad. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into this carburetor if I want to keep it, because that's just way too much work. Alright, so I'm going to take the pressure off. There's just like a nut that's holding this lever from coming back. So I'm going to spin that nut up, and then this lever is going to be able to come back towards me, and you'll see all that stuff start spinning. Here we go. Looking good. Don't put your finger in there. It's old. 43 minutes. 43 minutes ago I started, so it took about 40 minutes to start the wood splitter. It's almost time to go to work. I think I still have another hour, but time to go to work for this. Unfortunately, I don't have any wood over here. I've got to bring it over with the Kawasaki mill. I'm not doing that today. I just wanted to make sure this thing can run. So let's see if it can split here. And then the next problem. So the next problem is that hydraulic reservoir, it leaks because all those hoses are old and cracked. So we might have lost our hydraulic fluid. I checked earlier, we have some in there, but we might not have enough. It might not push the log properly. All right, let's see if it works. On the return, it's got a lever that releases once it goes back, but going forward we have to hold it, and then as soon as I let go, it stops going forward. Yeah, Joshua. Yeah, it is working good. Cool. All right, as you see though, splitting wood isn't just about starting up the wood splitter and splitting the wood. It's about you need the wood and you need to chainsaw it into sections. You need to haul it over here. You need to split it. And then after it's split, you need to stack it. So this is just one part of the whole work. I did not make it. We bought this. We found it on, I think, Facebook or Craigslist. We bought it from somebody. It's really cool though. I don't know. I don't think it always came attached like this. I don't think the power unit was sold with this wood splitter on it. I think somebody made it. And yeah, when we went to buy it, we brought our trailer. Let me go ahead and shut off the PTO here. We'll just let it idle in the background here for a minute, then we'll shut off. It was very cheap, very cheap. I hope to sell it for much more than we got it for, but we got to get it running a little better and looking nice. I don't remember the exact price. I think it was something super cheap, like $250. And my thought is if I list it for sale, $600 maybe. We'll see what happens then, because I'm going to need at least $600 to buy a replacement wood splitter, a much smaller one. Otherwise just fix the carburetor. I mean, it starts and runs once it's running, but of course need to fix the hydraulic leak on the wood splitter part too. So yeah, we brought our enclosed trailer. It looked like it'd fit. We got there and it was like 1 inch too wide. The tires wouldn't fit through. So the guy actually drove it on his trailer all the way to our place. It was like an hour drive for the guy. I mean, yeah, thanks to that guy. That was awesome. He didn't have to do that. That's cool, because we didn't have a flatbed at the time that we got that. Yeah, I think somebody, now that I'm thinking about it more, the guy said that his dad or his grandpa built it by hand. So he took this International Cub engine, 1940s, and he somehow manufactured it on this big I-beam and built the hydraulics. I mean, that's just crazy how people used to be able to do that stuff in their backyard. Let me shut it off here. So it gets quieter. There we are. Let me shut that fuel off too. Otherwise the carburetor is going to start leaking. All right, fuel's off. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that this thing started again. It's just, there we go. My arm's sore. Yeah, I mean, that is awesome that they made this thing. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done wood splitting for today, and then I have to go back to my day job. I worked a half a night shift, so I worked till about 2 a.m. Now I have to go back lunchtime till 5 p.m. But yeah, I love that this old stuff, it's built to last. And you gotta check to make sure you have oil pressure. There is an oil pressure gauge. I didn't show you that, but it was up to halfway up the gauge once it started. We gotta watch that. There actually is a primer for the oil. If it's not been started in a while, right here, if you guys can see it, there's a tube that comes out. You open the valve and you squirt some oil in there to pre-oil the engine. Why do I split wood? We live in Wisconsin. Hi, George. We live in Wisconsin, United States, central Wisconsin, and winter's coming. It's going to get cold. It gets down. It's usually not too bad, but you usually get some days where it's 30 below zero almost every winter. I mean, those are the bad days. But yeah, it gets cold. So we've got an old fixer-up house in the country, an old farmhouse, and a lot of single pane windows. So we need to put plastic on our windows every year. We actually just replaced our living room front window last week. I have a video I'm making about that, so make sure you check that out. The cheese state, yes, toothless. The base is probably an I-beam, yep. Welded, bolted to the engine on top with a little offset for the PTO. Then for the axle, it's probably just a trailer axle, like a truck axle, yep. Or a car. It's kind of narrow. And it's 4-bolt rims. So probably something small. Either an actual trailer from back then or a car. Hi, George. So yeah, winter. Our house leaks a lot of air. The cold comes in. Insulation's poor in some cases. Areas it's not good at all. And we got a fireplace. We've got a pellet stove, and we've got a propane furnace. Propane gets expensive, and you don't want to be just relying on just the gas company, because some years they spike the price of gas up like crazy, and you want to be reliant on yourself as much as possible. So I want to split a bunch of wood, and the fireplace gets nice and hot. A lot of people say, oh, you lose all your heat up the chimney. You do lose some heat, but once you get a nice hot fire going, that pellet stove, the furnace in the basement doesn't make up for that heat coming from this hot chimney. And it's got a stone hearth that goes up to the top. I think gas is more expensive than oil. I've never had an oil furnace, but I believe it is. Um, Once you get that stone all heated up, and you can get that fireplace really hot. Whereas the pellet stove, it's limited. I mean, it can only, you put it to max, and that's the max it can go. The fireplace, you put in more and more wood, it gets hotter and hotter, and you'll be sweating. If you're sweating because of your propane furnace, you're spending a ton of money. So that's the good thing about firewood um, and a fireplace. The bad things are you got to clean the chimney. I have to do that before I start any more fires in there. So I've got to climb on the roof, take the poles with the brush on the end, and take the cap off the chimney and slowly start sweeping all the creosote and junk down into the house. So it's a dirty job. But if you don't clean your chimney, you could have a chimney fire. And you don't want a chimney fire, because then your house could burn down. Yeah, so successful today. A couple days ago, my son prepped a tree. It's like a 50-foot tall tree. As you see, these trees behind me here, those are some really tall trees. Santa will get stuck. Yeah, it's just like a 8-inch by 10-inch chimney. So Santa's got to be pretty slim if he wants to get down that chimney. So we had a storm blow through a few years back, and down that way, it knocked down a whole bunch of trees. Some of them actually hit the house. Some were leaning over the house like that and still stuck in the ground. So that took a couple of years to clean up the fallen stuff. but we still had standing dead trees. So a couple days ago, my son took an axe. He prepped the tree. He had it so it was just leaning on this little tiny bit. And so I came along with the chainsaw and I just nicked both sides and dropped the tree. So now we've got a nice big round tree, 50-foot long, that's dry, hopefully not too rotten because it's standing. I think it's mostly okay. That I need to go chop up into wood log size segments and then bring over here, and I'm going to have a full day's worth of work splitting that wood. um this is what I'm going to be chopping the wood with as long as this starts. For splitting the wood. For chopping it, you're right, that's a chainsaw. It's just a junky Menards chainsaw. Let's not even talk about that problem. The bar was bent, the chains were dull. I can sharpen them, but with the bar bent, that's the biggest problem. You try cutting through the log, and instead of going down straight, it does this, and then it binds, and that's no good. So I just got a replacement bar, haven't tried it yet, and of course it comes with new chainsaw blades, so they're going to be nice and sharp. So I'm all prepped and ready to chop up that tree. 50 feet, that'll probably take me an hour or two if I'm lucky. Drop it in the back of the Kawasaki Mule right there. It's got a Predator 420 engine in it. It used to be a diesel. I wish it was a diesel, but we wouldn't have been able to afford it if it was still a diesel. We bought it from somebody. They did the engine swap. We didn't. They like gutted it or something. Hi guys. Hi, Joncho. If I said that right. There's our tractor. That thing needs a lot of work. Someday we'll start that up, but not going to start it up just for the fun of it today because I need to get ready for work soon. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching. I appreciate people watching. There's times I do these live streams and I have 2 viewers, 1 viewer. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but there's some kind of explosion sound. Yeah, it might have been a sonic boom. Sometimes they practice jets, Air Force jets around here. Yeah, there we go. These are 1960 Ford Starliners. They're pretty cool. When's my next live stream? Good question. Maybe this weekend. Let's see, today's Thursday. We'll see. I'll have to think of something to do. But yeah, check out these cars here. There we go. So we inherited these from my father-in-law. Hi, Eldelos. Hello. Yeah. So we've got multiple. They're all the same year, 1960. Ford Starliners. There's a 1-year only body style. So they've got the flat fins on the back. In 1961, the fins were much smaller and they were vertical. Yeah, these are really cool. We've got one running and driving. That one's in the garage. These are the parts cars, especially that one back there. And yeah, I hear some jets overhead, so that must have been a sonic boom. We've got, yeah, one running, driving. These are the parts cars, but we're hoping to get 1 or 2 of these running and driving too. That purple one on the end, and then this green one. Those are the ones that are in the best shape. So we're going to try and take parts off of multiple to be able to put it into 1 or 2 and hopefully get 1 or 2 of these running driving. Wisconsin, central Wisconsin. They've got an Air Force base, maybe an hour and a half from here. But for the jets, that probably takes them 5 minutes. All right. So as long as we're talking about these Starliners, I'm just going to show you the running and driving one quick. It's over in the garage here. So there's our hoop shed. We put that up about 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's where we're going to put the Starliner that we're working on, is in the hoop shed. So it gets out of the rain, the fog, the mist, the snow. Here we go. I hear the geese and ducks are going crazy. All right, let's go ahead and check out this other Starliner here. There we go. It's hiding in the garage here. Roosters. Roosters will attack you when you're not looking. Yeah, this one's really cool. 1047. That means it's either 1047 or 1147 here. I'm hoping it's 1047 because at about 11:30 I need to head to work. Yeah, so this one's got a Y block engine, 292 Y block. These cars have lots of chrome. A lot of chrome and stainless steel. Yeah, they look really cool. Yeah, if someone wanted, these would look really cool if you were to like drop it low. Roosters. Drop it low, tint the windows black. Yeah, but this one we're keeping as is because we inherited these. So we got to keep some exactly like we have, like we received them. I do make some content working on these. It's hard to get views lots of times, and it's all about the YouTube algorithm. If for some reason it doesn't like the video from the beginning, it just drops them. Yeah, right side steering. No. If you look, the words here, everything's mirrored on this video. It's left side steering. Let me try starting this here quick. It should start. It's been about a month since I started it. The other one, yeah, we'll show you that quick before we start. There we go. 1972 F250 High Boy 4x4. Got junk in the bed, but otherwise, yes, it's in great shape. Other than storing our junk in it, this thing's in excellent shape. And inherited this one from my father-in-law too. It's got bucket seats. I don't think those were original. But yeah, listen to how these doors close on these old vehicles. They're nice. Yeah. So definitely, I really want to do a live stream of getting these two on the road yet this year if possible, because we need to get them on the road. Both of these have been on the road about 2 times total since we've had them. So we need to get a little more use on them, because you're not going to find the problems if you don't drive them. And if they just sit, that's not good for them either. Yeah, these are really cool. That one doesn't start right now because the mechanical fuel pump is missing on it. Missing. Why is it missing? Well, we took it to put in a different car to try and get some of these other cars working. So I actually ordered one yesterday. It should arrive today. So then we can start working on this one again. Okay, yes, let me go ahead and start the Starliner here so you guys can hear that. And then after that, unfortunately, I'm not going to rest. I'm going back to work. All right, let me get it so you can kind of see me entering the door. Yeah, my day job. I have to go back to my day job in about a half hour. Trying to squeeze through. garage is never big enough, no matter how big you make it. You could always use a bigger one. All right, I'm in, almost. Gonna pump the gas. Here we go. Pump it some more. There we go. Took a couple pumps of gas there. It's been about a month. Yeah. Otherwise, it starts a lot easier than that wood splitter did. I wish that wood splitter would start this easy. Yeah, it's a really cool car. It's like 19 feet long. It's a really long car. Yeah, the truck here, the truck's got a bigger engine. This one's got a Ford FE. I think it's a 352, it might be a 360. And we've got another Ford FE, yeah, those chickens, out in the yard that we just pulled out of one of the Starliners that we're going to put into the better Starliner. So that's going to be a bigger engine than this Starliner has. All right, let me just burp the throttle a little bit, then shut it off here. Yeah. And so just imagine the wheel. That's actually the spare. That's where the spare tire goes. Here's the gas fill up right there. This is where you fill the gas. Gotta get it just right. One-handed, left hand, even though it looks like my right hand, that's my left hand. I don't want to fool with it. It does have a Continental kit bumper, or Continental bumper. See how it's extended out the back there? Those were not factory, not original. Most people don't like them, but that's what my father-in-law put on there, and this was his car, so that's staying there. Yeah, and these are cool. You probably can't read it since it's backwards, but got nice badging. It's got the gun sights that help you see where the corners are. Up top, it's got a lion. It's got a lion emblem. It says Ford up there. Not sure how much, there you go. Hard to see what I'm showing you. Yeah. So this engine, this one's even much, yeah, 19 feet long. This engine's much louder. They both got glass pack exhaust on them, cherry bomb probably. So they're rumbly. They sound cool. They sound mean. They like They make that burping sound that the old cars do. Even though these were not technically muscle cars back in the day, they're just before that. A lot of these did have really powerful engines. This one's not that powerful. It doesn't go fast, but it's definitely cool. Yeah. So definitely going to want to do some more live streams as we start and work on these. I'll get some real videos too. I do have some videos on my channel about working on these. This one we had to weld a lot. We this came looking really good. We didn't do anything to the outside, the visible outside, but we gutted the interior because we found that as soon as we lifted the carpet, there was like no floor in certain spots. It was just rusted through. There was a lot of like panels glued in place, tarred in place, and they were rusting through underneath the tarred in place panel. So we basically cut out the whole trunk and most of the floor inside and welded sections back on the frame. We had to weld a few sections of the frame. I'm no welder. So I was learning as we went, and I'm getting a little better as we start doing more of them. Hopefully I'll get a little bit better each and every one we do. And then I can come back to this one someday and fix the poor job I probably did on some parts of this one. It looks great. It runs and drives, and we got to put more hours on it on the road. They're kind of scary because they're big. The old vehicles, I don't think this one doesn't have power steering, but there's play in the steering wheel. And yeah, some of the newer vehicles do too when they got problems, but a lot of the older ones, it's just kind of the way they are. And you get on those roads that aren't perfect, they've got lumps in the road, and the car starts doing this, and it gets a little sketchy. So, got to get some practice driving it. All right. So, thank you guys for watching. If you want to see some of the past videos of working on these, check out my channel. There are a few out there. And as I work on them more, I'll do some more live streams and I'll do some more real full videos. And this thing's very close to getting started again. The fuel pump is coming today. So I'm excited. All right, you guys have a great day. I've got to get ready to go back to my day job. Thanks for watching. The wood splitter started. Unfortunately, next time I start, I have to go through that whole process again. Yeah, that's very frustrating. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.